little crazy in October and read 15 books. 10 of those were audiobooks, 5 of those were physical books, so it's like not as crazy as it seems, but for me, 15 books is a lot. I did a lot of very short audiobooks, so that's why that number is like, ooh. I first read all of ACOTAR in the early spring of this year. This is my first time doing a reread, but I'm doing it on audiobook. And the red flags in this book that I missed the first time around, also this time around, I am appreciating it so much more because out of the ACOTAR series, this one was kind of like bottom for me for a bit. But the groundwork that Sarah J Maas lays in this book, where like first time around, you don't realize how in your face it is, and then second time around, it's just so apparent. This was amazing. And right after that, I did audiobook Court of Mist and Fury again. Chapter 54, chapter 55, whole experience, actually a 5-star read for me. The high is as high as the first time. First physical book was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I really love this. I think this might be my favorite Emily Henry read. It's kind of like your Hallmark trope, but reversed, where New York City type A woman goes to a small town in the South and is supposed to fall in love with someone there, and her sister's trying to set her up with someone there, but her like type A New York corporate rival is there as well, and it's his hometown. Chef's kiss. My next audiobook, I'm just doing a full Sarah J Maas reread. I did Throne of Glass. Sarah J Maas does setup books so well, where I feel like first time around you underappreciate them. So I appreciated this so much more doing it a second time. And then I went straight into Crown of Midnight, another one that I just didn't realize how good it was first time around. Also, it's now so apparent to me, it's so in my face, how Chaol was a better choice than Dorian. But I'm still Team Dorian, even though he's a total asshole in the first and second books. Another physical book that I read was Onyx Storm. This is the third in the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. I won't say much about it here because I'm still in the midst of doing my coverage of it on my socials. My next audiobook was Myth America, Historians Take on the Biggest Legends and Lies About Our Past by Kevin M. Kruse. I did find this one a bit dense and it felt a bit boring, but just because it was doing such a good job of research and covering the history and approaching myths from different angles. So from an educational standpoint, this was fantastic. It just got a little dull. My next audiobook was Exvangelical and Beyond, How American Christianity Went Radical and the Movement That's Fighting Back by Blake Chastain. I didn't know anything about Blake Chastain going into this, even though he is the person who coined the term exvangelical. But as someone who's been familiar with that term, aside from him, it was interesting to hear his take on how he got to that point and how the community that he continued to interact with that identified as evangelical, not exvangelical, treated him and how he was able to learn and grow from that. I gave it 3.75 stars. It was a good read. I read a lot of books on this subject, so it didn't really stand out to me. Next, I did a memoir audiobook, Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. This was okay. It was an easy read. It was kind of funny, but almost the whole time I was thinking, why did you write this? What was the goal of writing this memoir? And through maybe the last chapter or maybe 2 chapters, I feel like her point was probably acknowledging the anxiety that she has because of fame and how she deals with that and overcomes it. I didn't think it was super clear. It was fun, not amazing. And then the next memoir I read was Unqualified by Anna Faris. I listened to these 2 Anna memoirs because I was actually looking for the Anna Wintour memoir. Couldn't find it anywhere. Found these 2. I was like, sure. This one, it actually did feel like it had a pretty clear point. I feel like she's had different romantic situations throughout her life and has learned from them pretty well. It was okay. It wasn't amazing. The foreword super pissed me off though. It was by Chris Pratt and it came across as like, I was asked to write this, so I guess I'm gonna do it. And he like rambles about himself for a long time. It just, ooh, I did not like it. Next audiobook was How the Bible Actually Works, in which I explain how an ancient, ambiguous, and diverse book leads us to wisdom rather than answers, and why that's great news by Pete Enns. Probably the last 5 months I've had an audiobook by Pete Enns. I love anything Pete Enns. I feel like he does such a good job of taking really difficult subjects and breaking them down where just your average, non-academic, not PhD student can understand and learn. That being said, this still is like difficult subject matter. So I'm just gonna tell you I gave it 5 stars. And if you're interested in how the Bible actually works, like go for it. Next audiobook was Hello Molly by Molly Shanahan. I really liked this. This was really well done, but in kind of a disturbing way. It felt like that friend who tells you like their abusive horror stories from childhood as if they don't realize like how fucked up it is. I knew nothing about her life, but it's crazy. It's just a crazy life. My next physical book I still have with me. It's Three Mothers, How the Mothers of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and James Baldwin Shaped a Nation by Anna Malika Tubbs. I loved this. This was so good, and it did such a great job about approaching a subject that feels so far in the past and showing how it's actually not, and connecting history to now through like chronological events. If you're wanting to learn more about Black history, and also if you ever have the thought of, oh, segregation was so long ago, like it's not even a thing today, read this. Like, just educate yourself. I feel so educated after this. My next book was also a memoir, Thicker Than Water by Kerry Washington. I love Scandal. I love Kerry Washington. I think her activism is so inspiring. I think she's beautiful, smart, so cool. I just think she's such a role model. And I didn't really know anything about her story. I didn't know where she was from, how she grew up, what her parents were like. But such an interesting story, and someone who is introspective in a way where, yes, she's learning about herself and how to better analyze and understand herself, but as the reader, you can also learn from her and take that and apply it into your own life. This was deep and so good. And my final book of October, I literally finished this last night. I needed a palate cleanser. Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the second in the Maple Hills series. The first one is definitely a Book Talk favorite. It's called Icebreaker. If you know, you know. Icebreaker was the first book that I read after Kingdom of Ash, and I was like, I just need a palate cleanser. And this month, I tried to read Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and I couldn't do it. I could not do it. So it was like, I just need something that's gonna be fun, light, everything's gonna end right. I'm gonna get back into my motivated reading. And this absolutely did that. And it had a surprising depth that I didn't expect. It was definitely character driven. I feel like the character development was easy, but well done and necessary. And it had a very sweet ending. Very much a comfort read. Those are all my reads of October. I will not be doing 15 books in November. It's not happening.